Ladies and gentlemen, welcome on this lovely Monday, August 18th, to the Sideline Junkies Podcast Network and Drive Time with Matty Ice. I'm here along with, of course, one of my famous side-by man, Scooter. How you doing today, Scooter?
I'm excellent. Thank you. It was only 67 degrees and cloudy today. It was great in Delaware.
Nice. Look at you showing off the nice weather. It wasn't too bad here today in Ohio. We're in the 80s. We're joined today here by Marcus and Axl Rose, a couple of guys that joined us for our mock draft, and we're going to get right into that. But real quick before we do, Marcus, I know you're going to upset probably some people as they start watching because we do have a lot of Commanders fans on here. So
It's
they're going to see
okay.
you in your full Dallas gear and just love it right away. So how you doing today, buddy?
I'm doing good. You know, it's okay for them to be Commanders fans. Everybody doesn't make wise decisions in life, but they got a chance to repent.
I love Marcus. Marcus did this all the time in our office back in North Carolina. So this goes back many years of having fun together. And then also joined with Axl Rose here. So Axl, how you doing today?
I'm doing great. I'm looking forward to this. It was an experience with the slow rolling draft and stuff, but I was always like prepared in this
Yes.
round experience.
And it's the fun of doing one of these because, as you'll see, I have slides ready to go. So we couldn't do a traditional draft where people do it live because I didn't trust myself. I wanted to have the slides ready. Not everyone, of course, could come on right away. So with that being said, that's why I had to do it this way. And I appreciate everyone going through pick by pick. So with that, let's set this up here for everyone that joins us to watch this mock draft and how it's going to work. I had 10 guys that joined in, and I'm sorry, 9 guys and a gal, not 10 guys, 9 guys and a gal that joined us for this mock draft. Everyone's had to draft a quarterback, 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, and a tight end. They're given a standard PPR league as far as what we're going to be working off of, a point per PPR, 0.1 yards for every yards rushing or receiving, and then 0.1 for every 2 yards throwing by a quarterback, 6 points for a touchdown, -2 for a turnover. Those were the basics of the 6 picks that were going to be made. So what we're going to do, we'll run through the picks. Those guys that are on here will be able to make their pick. Now, we spun, if you remember on last week's show, we spun the draft order, so for right there, as everyone knows, I did end up with the first pick in the draft. But Scott was here. He witnessed the wheel spin to see that's how it went. And honestly, I didn't want the number 1 pick. I think in a snake league, having pick number 1 is probably the worst pick to have. So that's what I ended up with anyway. But that's where we're at. So that's how we led into the draft. So, once I knew I had the number 1 pick, I honestly knew who I was going to go with number 1. I was going to take the best receiver on the board based on the fact that I thought about going running back. But then my honest thought was going to be, when I had the 2 picks back to back, I'll just take the next 2 picks. But when you got a guy that's got 100 plus receiving yards, 100 plus or 1,000 plus receiving yards, he's going to get his receptions and his touchdowns. My pick is going to become very obvious. Scooter, I think you or Alex, you were actually going to be next up at 3. What were your thought process going into your first selection?
It was great because if I would have been number 1, I would have picked the same guy. So I was like, this is awesome. It just seemed like everybody was like kind of falling to me,
It's nice on those drafts when that works for you. And then Scooter, you're next at 4. What was your kind of mindset when you saw that you got 4?
Oh, I was good with it because that's a good spot to be in. And, right there, I'm not picking a quarterback up there. So, there's plenty of good, you're looking at the running backs that are up there, but I was interested in receivers. So, but you did it.
Yeah, we'll see how that goes. And then Marcus, I think you probably were in the sweet spot. You're just rotating back and forth at 6'5" the whole draft. How did you like getting that spot?
It's kind of right in the middle of things. So, I was trying to pick somebody. I wanted to go receiver first because I always, especially in the PPR league with somebody like CD Lamb or, whatever the case may be, or, you got some other great receivers. Plenty of good running backs you can get in the second round. So that was kind of my thought process.
I love it all. So with that, let's get right into it and let's see how this works. All right, my sound effect still works. That's great. So I had the first pick, and it's a no doubter. It was Jamar Chase, wide receiver from Cincinnati. I mean, he's probably going to lead the league as far as especially with this format and fantasy points. It's the no-brainer at number 1. I did think about going running back. I will be honest. That thought did cross my mind for a couple seconds, but I couldn't pull the trigger on a running back. I did not in the PPR league. If it was non-PPR league, maybe, but here it had to be Jamar. Anyone think that I'd made the wrong pick?
I mean, I would have again. I would have gone with a guy. I'll cover my pick, but like I just feel like he's the number one pick, and I think he'll be the number one pick next year. You know, regarding unless injuries happen, but that can happen
Right.
with anyone.
Exactly. So, all right. Well, cool. I just want to make sure. All right. Next up was Dustin. He cannot be here today, but for at least a little bit here, we'll still give him the music. Maybe. Come on. There it is. And anyone watching, I know do see a few people on. If you want any comments on any of these picks as you see them, feel free to make them. Dustin took Saquon Barkley, running back from the New York Giants. He said he loves having a running back that gets high volume, not only in the running game, but also the passing game. And so he thinks Barkley will pick right up where he left off last year. So that was his pick there. You can't go wrong with that. I think of the running backs, he was probably the top dog there. Anyone feel differently on Saquon as far as being the number one running back off the board and at the 2 pick?
I probably would have gone a little different route. I think Bijan is going to have a phenomenal year as well.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to have a lot less wear and tear on his body than Barkley is. And while he didn't sustain injury last year, he does have an injury history. So I might have gone Bijan at pick 2 myself.
Well, that's an interesting thought, Marcus. So right here, Axl Rose is number 3, and Alex. Let's go. Hold on. Let me give you your music here. Come on. All right. Go ahead. Announce your pick, sir.
Yeah, it's Bijan Robinson, Atlanta running back, 23 years old, led all the running backs in catches for PPR. So now you're getting a guy who's 23 in his prime, an offense around him, a 3-down back. And like there's a lot of good running backs, but there's no one to the level that he can be at. And you talk about Saquon Barkley. This is a guy that's gotten a lot of carries over time. He's still 28, you know what I'm saying? But we're hitting around that range where running backs start to slow down. I don't necessarily think that Barkley will slow down, but he's got a pretty decent supporting cast. He's not going to get the same carries that he got before, and he'll still be productive, but I'm betting on Robinson being more productive. I'm betting on him, being the number 1 RB. And I think he can be there. And you take a guy like this, there's so much depth in wide receiver. Everybody wants a wide receiver early. There's so much depth at wide receiver. You're getting good wide receivers in the 5th and 6th round. So to take this guy right off the bat, it gives you almost like a hero RB strategy right off the bat. I love it. I'll take him, 10 times out of 10.
So if you had the number 1 pick, it sounds like would you take Bijan number 1 overall?
Because I love the Bengals offense, but it really looks like there's so many weapons that could go a couple different ways. So I'm not necessarily thinking that the number 1 pick is the way to go. I think you take a running back because you have so much depth at the wide receiver. You're still going to come out really good, which I'll show in my picks, I think.
Okay. I like it. All right. So then that brings up Scooter, who happened to have the number 4 pick. And let me cue you in. All right. There it is, Scooter. Go ahead.
With the number 4 pick, the Scooters go for Justin Jefferson, the wide receiver out of Minnesota. I mean, you basically have your top 3 wide receivers, and then you have a bunch of other guys that are really good. But the top 3, you don't want to lose out on Justin Jefferson, especially since Bijan was just taken before me. That would have been one of those I would have taken a little time to think about that because that's a really good pick by Axel with Bijan. And
yep.
When it came to it, he made that pick for me. So I think I immediately picked Justin because, look what he did with Sam Darnold last year. I mean, he could do it with anyone.
Agree. I think I didn't have any issues with these first 4 picks in the order that they went in, or if anyone would have taken them in a slightly different order. I think they're all good picks for sure. So Chip could not be here, and I would keep playing the music, but it does take up some time. So we're just going to roll through some of these for the guys that aren't here. So Chip took Jamar Gibbs, running back from Detroit. Reason he's pretty sound, top-tiered running back, a little thinner this year compared to previous years. Gibbs was top fantasy running back last year, and playing in that offense, he's going to get his carries, and he is a PPR guy too. So I think looking at running back wise, I think it's a smart pick here too at 5. I don't think there's any issues with that. Anyone want to have anyone say anything differently?
It's a great pick.
Yeah.
Great,
Here he is.
excellent.
Sorry, can't join live. Out with Landon in the week off. Saquon Barkley plays for who? The Giants. Avalon. So he's making fun of the Eagles and stuff. So yeah. So Chip, I know you may or not enjoy or see Marcus is a Dallas fan, but I think your guys' hatred of the Eagles is probably equal with each other. So that's probably good. So that's where you guys can find your sweet spot there. So with that, hold on. Now I got to come back over here to my media assets because Marcus is now up, and you get the sound because you're here. All right, Marcus, make that pick.
I am going to pick none other than the awesome CD Lamb.
Surprise, surprise, surprise.
You know, I mean, why not? I'm a Dallas fan. You know, I mean, it's not like a lot of people ruin their fantasy teams picking by their hearts, but I don't think CD Lamb is going to ruin my fantasy team. He's a PPR monster. Even with, our backup quarterback last year, he was still averaging 17 points per game, in fantasy. This is with a hurt shoulder. He was still out there toughing it out. He's very productive on the field. I think George Pickens is going to take a lot of pressure off of him, which may slow him down just a little bit. But, at the end of the day, I can take CD all day. But to be honest with you, if Jameer was still on the board at pick 6, I probably would have gone with Gibbs over CD. But I love my pick at pick 6.
So another case of two guys whose picks were kind of made for them when the guy before them took the other guy that they were thinking of. So that's
right.
Good though. I mean, it lets everyone kind of know of where everyone's kind of thinking going into this thing. So I do like the insight there of who you were maybe else thinking of there. So pick 7, Pat is not with us, but his pick I think is a pretty solid one too. He takes the touchdown machine of Derrick Henry. Still believe they'll run the ball consistently with Henry. A little worried with Lamar taking some touchdowns away, but Henry will get a share and is still a beast, which is true. So I think if you're going to go running back, I think he's a solid pick there. Especially at 7 because he is a touchdown machine, and he showed last year. We talk about Barkley maybe showing some signs, and of course has the injury history. Derrick Henry he doesn't matter if it's Tennessee or Baltimore. He's just been there. So I like the pick. Anyone think otherwise?
Nope. It's all chalk so far.
All right, we agree. All right, then number 8 was who we call Little Vic on the show, but he's actually a bigger guy. But we call him Little Vic because of how he was in the neighborhood, and his dad was Big Vic. So it's Big Vic and Little Vic. So Little Vic picks 8. He couldn't join us today, and he goes maybe I don't really want to say out on a limb just because last year Christian McCaffrey was everyone's number 1 pick. I think but the injury slowed him down. I think the injury concern is gone. And again, in a PPR league, Christian McCaffrey is just a beast. If healthy, he's still one of the best options at running back. And I agree with that. It's all going to be about, was last season's just a fluke injury, or is that a sign of things to come? Because with running backs, we all know how the injury bug can start hitting a running back and sometimes stays there. But at pick 8, I think it's a pretty good pick.
I also hear too that San Francisco has one of the easiest schedules this year. So, if they can get on top of teams, that's a world for Christian McCaffrey to just run it out in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, and I just think with a later round pick, you got to take a chance like that. There's no the upside for him is just unreal that he could be the number 1 guy and just go right because he's done it year after year after year. So that's a great, if I'm the 8th pick and I'm, I want to win this thing, that's going for it. That's what you should do.
Yep. I think we're all in agreement on that. It's a solid pick at 8 for sure. Pick 9 is KG. He's one of the other hosts on the Sideline Junkies podcast network, but it's a little early for him yet. So he might join us a little bit later on, but he could not early for the first part. And his first pick is he takes our first quarterback off the board. He goes with Lamar Jackson, top 3 quarterback in the league, and he's due for another MVP season that may lead to a Super Bowl. And he is the dual threat with the rushing yards, which is always nice. He can easily score a touchdown rushing the ball. He's the first quarterback off the board. Anyone got any thoughts on it? Scooter?
Yeah, it's a great pick. If you're going to pick the first quarterback off the board, he's a great one to pick. I mean, he throws for it. He runs, 80, 85-yard touchdown runs. He is a great quarterback. And I'm happy for my Raven fans to watch him. So that's cool. I'm not a Raven fan, but good for them.
Yep. Marcus, any thoughts on it?
Me personally, I stay away from quarterback in the first rounds or so. I mean, that the quarterback depth is so deep this year. I like to get, especially, my more skill position players out the way first, and then target quarterbacks round 3 or after.
Okay, I don't disagree with that philosophy either. Axel?
Yeah, I just there's no way I would draft a quarterback in the first round like that. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just not even value. There's four really good quarterbacks. So I'm kind of like, if I'm going to make a move, it's going to be for the third or fourth quarterback, and it just depends on what's out there. But there's no way I'm making that move first unless I feel like the quarterbacks are like undervalued and like I can get a Josh Allen and nobody's taking him in the third or fourth round. Then I'm all ears. But I just think there's too many skilled positions you're skipping on, and well, I don't know what he came back with. We'll see what he comes back with. So
Good idea.
I'll reserve my decision on.
No, I'm not saying I don't disagree with anyone here. I wouldn't pick a quarterback either in this round, like I said earlier. But I think Lamar's just a little. He can get you some fantasy points.
Yeah, and there's
going to take a quarterback.
There's other guys that can do the same thing that you.
There are, yeah.
All right, so let's see. We'll get there. So Nancy has, of course, the last pick in round 10, and then the first pick in round 2. Her first pick was Amon-Ra St. Brown, which I think is a damn steal at pick 10, to be honest with you. St. Brown's a reliable red zone target and has a high catch rate. He's in a high potent offense. So yes, there are other targets in Detroit, but to get him at 10, I think it's a steal for her. So I love that pick, and then I'll let you guys talk on it too. I'll let you guys talk on both picks. Then she goes right back and she takes probably arguably the best tight end off the board, going and getting in his rookie year the 100 reception Brock Bowers. He's a tight end one, has upside with Geno Smith because he now does have a quarterback to throw in the ball. His production is expected to remain high with productions of the 100 catch floor and over 1,000 receiving yards. So her two picks back to back are Amon-Ra St. Brown and Brock Bowers. I think she hits the home run for both picks. Scooter, what do you think?
Yeah, when you had that, back and forth just like that, she did a great job on it. She got her tight end out of the way. I mean, arguably the best one right now. And then, the previous pick is just unbelievable. So that's good. Good job.
Marcus, any thoughts on getting St. Brown and Bowers together?
Love St. Brown. He has an immediate floor. I mean, he's a PPR monster. With that being said, I'm not sure what the offense will look like with them losing their offensive coordinator. But I love the pick, especially at round 10. Brock Bowers, me personally, would have shied away from a tight end. I may have gone with somebody like Nico Collins right next door, because last year before Nico got hurt, he was trending at the wide receiver 1, and to get him at pick 11, would be an outstanding pick. I just shy away from tight end. Now he'll be a monster, but Pete Carroll loves to run the rock, and he got a Ashton Genty, a new toy to play with. So I'm not sure if Brock Bowers will be that PPR monster like he was last year.
Gotcha. Axel, any thoughts on it?
Yeah, I mean, I would disagree. I wouldn't make either one of these picks. St. Brown is great, but we're talking about a safe pick. That will get you. That won't lose you. It won't lose you on your team, but it's not going to get you in the top teams. At best, this guy's a top 10 wide receiver, right where you drafted him. He's not. He doesn't see. I don't see a scenario where he can be the number 1 wide receiver. And like, if I'm 10, I got to take some chances. You got to take some chances. If you lose, you lose, but go for it. Is my opinion. Brock Bowers. Good tight end, but like, again, what I'm saying, it's almost like you're drafting from last year, and that's the big mistake. People look at what somebody did last year and they don't project what they do next year. I think when you draft an Ashton Genty, the offense revolves around him, not Brock Bowers anymore. So you're essentially drafting who you think is going to lead the offense. It's not going to be Brock Bowers. I'm not saying it's a bad pick. I'm just saying it's too early. It's like you gotta slow down on some of these like picks and quarterback and tight end until you got your skill positions, because you're going to win or lose, in my opinion, on your running backs and wide receivers and the depth you have.
Okay, I like it. All right, let's keep on moving here. So you were asking about what's KG's pick now. He is a Redskin fan, so I'm going to preface it with this, and we'll see how this goes. His next pick, he takes Terry
Oh,
McLaurin,
God.
wide receiver from Washington. Which I'll be honest, I even thought this one was a little bit early. I'm sure KG's going to love it when he gets on and he watches this, and his show's on tomorrow. We'll see how much heat he gives, me and the guys. But that's okay. That's half the fun of this is having that banter back and forth. So let's go ahead and hear the thoughts. Scott, you are the Commanders fan in the group. Do you like this pick at 12?
I like Terry McLaurin a lot. I don't know if I like this pick at 12, but Kevin's he feels something's going on with him. So let's go. I mean, let's get him on the football field first.
Yeah, right.
Which is a big problem with the
he's got to sign his deal, which I think he will sign his deal, but that's a whole different subject. I assume Marcus and Axel, you're going to be on the not liking this pick at 12 fence on the side too.
Yeah, I would like KG in my league because that's one less guy I have to worry about if you're going to make it.
Oh, wow. Now we're talking. Midnight Rider.
I love these hometown people. You know what I'm saying? They always take their hometown, and it's like, great. You know what I'm saying? Unless you're an Eagles fan, it doesn't work out for you too well.
And I don't know if KG was just having fun with this or not, because I have been in a league with him, and he did not go homer like he did on this. And we'll see as this develops more. There's going to be some more homer picks. So I think he just was doing this for fun. But Ben, who is Midnight Rider on the show, he says way too soon. Talking about McLaurin, and so I think we're kind of all in agreement on that this pick might be a little bit too soon. But KG does love himself some Terry McLaurin, so I think he just was doing that for sure. Little Vic comes around, and I think this pick at 13 is a really solid one. You get Malik Neighbors, who did have that solid rookie year with nobody throwing the ball. He's now got a better quarterback, if he can stay healthy, of course, throwing the ball. And if he doesn't, then he may have a rookie coming in there to also throw him the ball. That seems pretty good so far in the first couple preseason games. So he gets Malik Neighbors off the board. And so we'll just see where that all goes. What do you guys think about it?
I personally love it. Like you said, he's you're at pick 13 in the second round, and to get a receiver of that talent who's going to basically take up probably a 30% target share on that team. And Russ loves the deep ball, and I think he'll be able to get it to Neighbors down the field to get some of those extra fantasy points for those 40-yard passes.
Agree. Anyone? And Ben puts in, why wouldn't you tie JD5 to that? Yeah, I agree. He took Lamar Jackson 1 and then goes and takes, that. So he had his quarterback already. So he couldn't tie in Jaden Daniels to him even if he wanted to, which I think would have probably been early for Jaden too there. But I think that's a good point too.
I think one of the things going on good with Malik this year, I mean, he's got a toe problem, so he's not really on the field as much at the moment.
Yeah.
But his 3 quarterbacks are all playing quite well.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Agree.
This is
all
true.
Right. So Pat coming up next, his pick was he takes the second quarterback off the board, and Josh Allen. Again, plenty of weapons in Buffalo, and with the push tush not being outlawed, that means Josh is definitely going to get some of those cheap touchdowns at the 1-yard line and in where the other people can't punch it in. So that does come into play a little bit. So he's the second quarterback off the board, and he put in here QB1, playing great football, can run to score, and of course pass. It's time to take his team to the next level and be the league MVP. So he's expecting big things out of the team and Josh Allen. Scott, what do you think?
I mean, Josh Allen, if you're trying to get a quarterback, he's a good one to pick at this pick. I think that's okay now. You're in the second round. If you want to go quarterback, good deal. Which in this turn, all of a sudden there'll probably be a few more of them taken.
Yeah, could be. Axel, what do you think on this pick?
I love Josh Allen. I'll take him, but it's at what price? You know what I'm saying? I know, I got a guy that I would pick in my second round. I got a guy that I would pick way higher than Josh Allen. So I'm like, they're going to make a run at the quarterbacks. Just do it. You know what I'm saying? If their quarterback goes down, now they don't have skill position players that I do. So they're in real trouble.
Agreed. Now Marcus is spinning. So I don't know if we lost Marcus or not, because his pick is next. So what we'll do.
Are we back?
Still spinning.
Can y'all
Marcus,
hear me?
can you hear me? Let's see.
Yes,
So,
I hear him.
you do?
Marcus, I hear
Can
you.
you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. Well, you're spinning. So if you can, go ahead and give your pick. I'm not going to do the
My
sound.
pick
There
is
you are.
going to be Devon Achane, if y'all can hear me.
Yep, we can. You're
And
back.
it's
it's a little risky pick, especially I made this pick, I think, before I found out he had a lower body injury. He is a little bit injury prone, but if him and his quarterback can stay healthy, I think he is a PPR monster. Like you said, sometimes you got to take risk. And I think that my second pick in the event that, I'm sorry, my third pick in the event that Achane goes down will kind of still give me a good shot at having a RB1. I just think that he will be outstanding, and he's a very important part of Miami's offense. And I think they'll bounce back this year because I think they'll be trailing a lot. Sorry, Nancy, to tell you that, but I think he's a good source when it comes to in the passing game as well.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that part. Now, I do want to ask you one question, Mark, because you brought up Nico Collins' name, and Nico was still on the board when you made this pick, but you brought up his name talking about Nancy going maybe back to back with St. Brown and Collins, and instead of taking Bowers. So why didn't you take Nico here? Because he was on the board to go
Well,
with CC.
I think Axel mentioned it earlier. The wide receiver, is so deep this year in drafts. I needed to make sure I got a couple of, good running backs early on because they're not as deep, once you get in the later rounds of the draft. So I wanted to solidify my running back room before I went with another wide receiver since I already picked CD with my first pick.
Okay. I just wanted
Mhm.
you to, since I was out there, I just wanted to go ahead and at least ask that question. So, what do you guys think on Acne? Axel, I'll let you go first this time.
I would say that if you do not take Jalen Wright, there's going to be games where he's just not going to play. And with that injury history that he has, I understand the pick, and I would be supportive of it. But like you understand, like you're taking a big risk there. You know what I'm saying? Because this guy is feast or famine. If he's on the field, he's a huge weapon. But if he's off the field, you're not getting any production.
Right.
And already he's starting the season before he's even starting. He's hurt already.
Right.
So I have a big doubt that this guy can go. Be there for you in the playoffs. You really, and Jalen Wright becomes like a guy you got to overdraft at this point. You got to get some security, and he looks great too. So,
And that's where, of course, with
back.
us only doing 6 rounds, we talk about, that's what's called handcuffing, running back of getting their backup. So that way, if he does go down, you've got their backup for each week to start with. And of course, you're not going to do that probably in the first 6 rounds, So I do agree with you. I think if you're getting this guy in your draft, you better look at getting right in the later, probably sooner rather than later, before somebody else gets him, because
that would be me.
Definitely want that handcuff.
I would definitely be trying to take Jalen Wright and just snatch him up, because then if Achane goes down, you got a guy that could be like, again, not quite Devontae Achane, but a pretty solid conductor, and then you have like really good running back depth at that point. You got to take some shots.
Scooter, anything else, or you agree with all those comments?
I mean, I agree with all those comments, and I think this is like at this point, I'm already thinking running back situation.
Yep.
Because they're starting to fall.
Well, and speaking of running backs falling, Chip is going to take another one. He does take the rookie Ashton Gently out of Vegas, which I'll be honest, this one hurt because I was really getting excited as he kept sliding down a little bit further in this first round, because he would have been my pick coming up. He would have definitely been my pick coming up for sure if he would have just kept sliding down a little bit further than what he did, unfortunately. So Chip takes him. He says, "I'll ride the hype train and secure my second running back with Genty. Easy to find quality wide receivers in later rounds than top running backs." I can't disagree with that. I think this is a really good pick. He's going to get the rock in Vegas, for sure. I mean, they got Miami's backup, who I can't even think of now, but he seems to be more maybe the third down back, but they're putting Genty out there in those situations too, and he's showing that he can catch the ball. So I like this pick a lot, sadly, because I was really hoping he was going to slide. See, DeAndre, welcome to the show. Tua has a 1.6 second average time to throw last year due to his head injury. First least among quarterbacks, second least with Cooper Rush. Tons of dump offs to Agnew because of it. Yeah, which is true. That's definitely a good call on that part of it. So I like that as well. So a little bit more there on that pick. Anyone disagree with the pick of Genty here?
Mm-mm.
No.
All right, and we'll move on then. I didn't think so. All right, Scooter, you're up here. Hold on real quick, because it's fun and we got to do it. Let's get you here. We haven't done one in a while. Come on. There you go. All right, Scooter, go for it.
Well, with my Mel Kiper hair and the Scooter's second pick, we're going to go with the running back, Bucky Irving. I mean, I was already talking about running backs, just like it's the time to grab some if you don't have them already. So he had a really good year last year, 8 touchdowns, 1,100 rushing yards. He had 52 catches. So he could do it all. I know he's got some other players back there, but they were a playoff team. And he's going to be the guy. He's going to be the guy running the ball back there. So,
yep, I can't disagree. The running back runs seem to be happening, and you go and get one of the top guys out there for sure. Axel, any thoughts on it?
Yeah, I mean, they're like the thing. I love Bucky Irving, but the problem is like as Tristan Wirfs is out for the season, so your O line's not going to be as good. You still have a lot of running back depth with Tampa Bay. So like, I know Bucky's going to get, he's going to get his, but there's other guys in there that can also run the ball and they'll go with a hot hand. So like, I love Bucky, but I wouldn't draft him this early personally, but this is what happens with like my strategy. I think worked out well because, I drafted the running back early and now you got guys that are just, they're starting to pick running backs out of need rather than pick the best player, in my opinion.
Yep, and so that works out I think, well for you because that lead right into your next pick as you are coming up. And let's go ahead here. And go ahead and say who you took.
It's Nico Collins that we've been talking about. I was like, whoa, I can't believe that can't believe he wasn't picked in the top 10. So 18 is a steal at this point. There's no competition at wide receiver. They've got Tank is out for the year. The other guy left and went to the Patriots. So like there's, it's all his. And he was the number 1 wide receiver before he went down. So he's got everything there to be the number 1 wide receiver, like in all of fantasy football. He's going to get the ball. When we're talking about an offense that just throws the ball, they're not necessarily a good running team. So I'm going to take the number 1 wide receiver with a lot of targets centered on him. So I'll take him all day, 10 times out of 10. I think that's a home run pick.
I don't disagree with that. Vic talking about Bucky Irving because he's Vic and Scott and I are all in the league together. He talks about Bucky, good pick. No, you can't have him because he's going to keep him in our keeper league. It's a 4-person keeper league that we have, so he's keeping him in that one. So we got that pick there. Then that brought up Dustin's pick at number 19, and he takes another running back off the board, getting Josh Jacobs, coming from second year in Green Bay. Had a pretty good year, his first year in Green Bay. I don't disagree with the pick. I think it was an okay pick. It made my decision a little bit easier on what I was going to do because I was thinking about Josh, but then he went the pick before me, so there he is. So he's off the board. Any thoughts on Josh going at 19? I think at 19, it's Axel. I think what you qualified so far is as a safe pick at 19.
Josh Jacobs. I mean, that guy's getting beat. He's also like getting older on the spectrum. But the problem is like they have nobody else in their running back. Yep. That's great. What I'm saying? So
he's going to get the rock.
Your running back. It's a safe pick. It's not exciting, but it does the job.
So now it's my turn at the turnaround, and we're sitting here. And again, when I took wide receiver 1, my honest thought going into this thing was I was going to go running back 2, 3. But then Genty's off the board. A couple of the other guys that I really liked here were off the board. And I look at the board, and I see 2 guys that are going to probably be locks for 100 receptions. And again, this is a PPR league. So if I got 3 guys now that are going to get me 100 receptions, assuming that they're healthy, because the first one I took, granted, he did have some injuries last year, but with Cooper Kupp out of the picture, and I know Devontae Adams is there, but Adams is going to get the double teams, which means that all that Puka's going to do is he's going to be getting those third down receptions. And I think he's a lock for 100 receptions. So to have 2 guys at 100 receptions and lock up my 2 wide receivers, so I don't have to worry about that the rest of the way. I know that it's a loaded position. Again, when I did this, I wasn't necessarily thinking this way, but when he's sitting there on the board, I couldn't resist him at 20. I thought he was a steal at 20. Maybe you guys think I'm crazy.
No, I was hoping he'd come back to me because then I'm like, this draft is over at this point.
All right, well, good. That makes me feel good about it. Anyone else think that Puka was a bad pick?
Yeah,
at 20?
my only concern about Puka is Matt Stafford's health.
True.
He's one hit away from his back putting him out for the remainder of the season. So
the remainder of his career,
yeah,
Yeah.
that true. So that would be my only concern about Puka.
I can't disagree with that.
I would agree with Marcus on that too, because like Puka's really great, but you don't know about Matthew. In fact, there's an issue this week. They still won't, like, I guess he just got back to practice again, but they weren't discussing his injury. And then who's going to be Jimmy G, Stetson Bennett.
Yeah.
Great name, though, Stetson Bennett.
Jimmy G will be fine. He
I'm rooting for
first
Stetson.
in the Raiders, that's great. So then my first pick in the third round, and again, I wasn't necessarily planning on going tight end this early, but when you got a guy that's got 100+ receptions, and you got a guy in Marvin Harrison that's going to be getting the attention of the defense, he seems to be Kyler Murray's favorite shutdown. My only concern with McBride is he doesn't get a lot of touchdowns. He didn't score a lot of touchdowns last year. I'm hoping that changes this year. But with having the second best tight end on the board, and I still think Arizona's got a good offense. I think their offense is going to be there. I like getting this now. I don't have to worry about tight end later. So I feel good about having three guys that should have 100 receptions if everything goes well. So that's why I took Trey here in the first pick in the third round. Anyone think I'm crazy? You can say so. I won't mind. It's my show, but I won't hate you.
I wouldn't do it again. Anytime you're in the third round, you want to get a guy that like you absolutely are like 100% on. And if you are starting with that's not good for your third round. If is like good in the fifth or sixth round, because there's just too many good players to pass up for the third round. I mean, the tight end is the tight end. It's great. But like, if that guy bombs, he has to hit at third. You know what I'm saying? That's why I go with like who I feel are like safer players, especially the first 6 rounds or so, because that's the core of my team.
Gotcha. I don't disagree with that. All right, Dustin comes back around for his third pick, and he takes AJ Brown, wide receiver from Philly. Again, I think it's a pretty solid pick. AJ is AJ. He's always going to get his stats. Now, of course, we talk about Philly and so many options in Philly, which is true. But I think in the third round, it's a good pick. Anyone got any thoughts on it? Scooter, we'll let you go first.
I just see AJ Brown scoring a bunch of touchdowns against Washington. So.
That's true. That does happen a lot. Marcus, any thoughts on AJ? I know it's one of your rivals.
AJ's a good pick, especially in the third round. They just become such a run-heavy team. I'm not sure if he'll get the volume that he could get. But at a third round wide receiver to get one of that caliber, you can't knock that pick.
Okay. And I know, Marcus, you got to go. If I can get you to hang on to your third round pick, is that cool?
I'm going to hang on to my third round pick, and then I'll go celebrate
perfect.
Family.
All right. That'll work. All right. So, Axel, you're up here next. So go ahead and give me who your pick was.
Ladd McConkey.
And give me your thought process on that one.
Probably should have taken Drake London.
Alex. I was Axel.
Yeah. I probably should have taken that's. It's just the thing with I already had Bijan, and I'm like, I don't want to just
double dip.
That's a good point. Yeah.
In case Atlanta, the quarterback bombs out and fizzles out, then you're over at that point. You know what I'm saying? I've had, he looked on fire towards the end of the season, Drake London, and the quarterback looked good, but we've all seen it before with these like guys that just light it up as a freshman, and then the second year they're not so great, and then the whole team suffers. I think Bijan is more like proof-wise that you can, dump him off the ball, and you can run the whole offense through him. So that's my only concern. Ladd McConkey, I'm going with the young guy to improve. He's a PPR machine. I just think he's a great, solid, second pick, second wide receiver that I can count on. Again, Puka was gone, so like that, I had some great options here.
Yeah,
but it's just like he's a little more riskier of a play for sure. But you got to have. I'll bet on youth rather than veterans, because I'd rather be a year early than a year late, because you pick somebody that just falls off a cliff and it just ruins your entire team. So I'm always sticking with young guys if I can.
And now he's got a Keenan Allen to learn from too, which I think will be helpful for him. DeAndre puts in here, I think Chargers passed heavy last year because they lacked a run game. Now with Hampton and Najee, will McConkey see an increase in targets? Yeah, I mean, they I think they do in theory have a better run game, but I think with Harbaugh as a coach, he always seems to like to throw it a little bit more too. So I don't think that will affect him. Anything, it might help him because they might not, they're gonna have to respect the run game, and that might open him up a little bit more too. So
Yeah, I never understand why Justin Herbert is always drafted so low after the numbers he usually puts up.
right, yeah,
and he's durable too.
and he wasn't even taken in this draft, just
Well,
to make that as a point. So, all right, let me keep going here, so that way we can get to Marcus' pick, so he can fly. Scooter, go ahead and give us your pick. I just threw it up there already, but go ahead and say why.
I'm going to pick Kenneth Walker the third. I know it's kind of a goofy pick per se because he had kind of a rough season last year. Now he did miss a game. And he missed a few games at the end of the season, so that hurt his stats a little bit. But he still got 7 touchdowns. He had 1 receiving touchdown as well as rushing. I mean, he's obviously Sharp knows. If I had more picks, I would try to get Sharp also,
Right.
because he's going to split a lot of carries. And that's going to keep Kenneth Walker healthier. And I just think when they get closer to the goal line, Kenneth's getting the points. He's getting the runs, and he can catch too. So
I think this is another one of those picks that you got to really go for the handcuff. I think it's a good pick if in later rounds you can get Zach, because Kenneth does have I had him in one league last year, and he was great when he was healthy. But man, he missed 3 or 4 weeks, and I was fortunate to have Zach as my backup because he can hurt you if you don't.
He was also RB12, I think, at least by the time he was injured. He was RB12. So
right,
he's a top running back. He may even finish at RB12. I don't believe that's true, but he was at least RB12 when he got injured.
Yep, I agree with you on that. All right, so real quick, let's see here. We have Chip was up. He took Drake London. We just talked about him a little bit. I think this is a really good pick for Chip at this spot. He didn't have to worry about having Bijan, which I think that those points are valid on that. But I know he was very happy to have Drake fall. That was a very quick pick from him when he saw that he was still available, and with good reason. I think he's a great pick there. So Marcus, you are up. Let's go ahead and get that pick before you go and celebrate that birthday. Who did you take in the 3rd round?
I was able to pick none other than Mr. Chase Brown, running back for the Cincinnati Bengals. I just think that Chase is going to have a phenomenal year. Number one, they're on an offense that cranks out points. Their defense is still abysmal this year. He's a running back that, number one, they will not be able to stack the box against because he has 2 stellar receivers on the outside. So it's basically pick your poison. And I just think he has no competition. And, that they're constantly going to be in the red zone, which gives him plenty of scoring opportunities. And I just think he's a steal in the 3rd round.
Yeah, I can't really disagree with that at all. That's a solid pick for sure.
If he's the number 1 running back, or up there, it wouldn't shock me. Again, I love him. I'll take him over Bucky Irving any day of the week. They're talking about him as the lead guy, and that's also what made me happy that I took Bijan, because there's a lot of weapons in the Bengals offense. So I think it's going to negate a few guys, and they're going to be great, but they're not going to be as good as where they're drafted.
Yep, I don't disagree with that. Scooter, any thoughts on Marcus's pick before he goes and celebrates that birthday?
Oh, at that point, that's a great pick right there. You're picking him up with your 6th pick. Yeah.
Agree. Well, Marcus, thanks so much for joining us. I know you got some birthday fun with the family to go celebrate. We will let you go get that celebration. Thanks for doing this for me. Hopefully you can check out now that you know where we are, check out a few more episodes, because we will be getting football heavy. So anytime you want to come back on, especially Dallas Commanders week, Marcus, you got to come on, because
I'll be on for sure.
I want that fun. I want that fun on this show of watching Cowboys and Commanders fans together. It'll be good times for sure. So, but thanks for coming on, buddy. You have yourself a good rest of the day. Okay.
Sounds good. Y'all enjoy. Have a good
Happy birthday.
Thank you, sir. Later.
Bye.
All right. So while he checks out, we will keep on rolling here through the third round. Pat is up next, and he took James Cook. So we talked about the running backs coming off the board. Yeah, he's going to be the guy in Buffalo. Someone like he gave me the comment. Someone has to help Josh. So that's his line. So he does have the running. I think getting running back and quarterback, that's an okay. You sometimes you talk about getting the running back and wide receiver from the same team. You always worry about, do they steal from each other or not when you're talking a fantasy lineup. But I got no issues with this pick. What I'm going to do, guys, I'll roll through like 2 or 3 of these picks in a row since they're none of ours. And then if there's anyone that stands out to you that you want to make a comment on, we'll do it that way. Vic took Brian Thomas, the wide receiver from Jacksonville, probably the guy for Jacksonville right now. If you're going to pick anyone from Jacksonville, it's probably him. And I can't really think of anyone else that you'd go in the top 6 of in the first 6 rounds anyway. So like that pick.
I'm also regretting my pick for Ladd McConkey. I did not notice that Brian Thomas was there. I would have taken him.
So there you go. So there's a shout out for you, little Vic, of liking that pick for sure. KG, then again, go. This is another little head scratcher here for me. I love Zach Ertz. I don't know that I would take him as the third tight end off the board in this spot for sure. So KG goes and completes his Washington love. Well, doesn't complete it because you'll see more later. But he continues his Washington love, going and getting Zach Ertz at tight end. And some other folks are enjoying this pick as well. What the hell? So I'm really starting to think KG was just doing this for fun. I think he was going for I think he's hoping that Washington just scores. I think this is his hope of making Washington score 40 points a game somehow. So Scooter, you're the Commanders fan. Can you defend this pick at all?
I hope Zach doesn't get injured this year, as with every player. But he had a really good year last year. I don't see why he can't have a good year this year. We'll see.
All right.
Well, I don't know this early.
Right. I think that's the problem. I don't have a problem taking Zach Ertz if he was in the 5th or 6th round, and that's like you're getting a tight end at the end. Good pick here, probably not so much. So Nancy then has her back-to-back picks, and I think she did pretty good on these ones. She goes and gets, probably one of the better fantasy quarterback-wise, because look, with the tush push, Jalen Hurts is a touchdown machine. He just is. So I like getting him at this point because of that tush push touchdown effect. He's probably going to get the ball on the one more than Saquon is, honestly. So I really like this pick here. And then she turned around and she goes and gets a running back in Jonathan Taylor, who, again, another one of these guys has some injury history. But getting a guy with injury, I think in round 4, it's one of those, if you get him here and he's the Jonathan Taylor of old, it's a steal. If he's injured, you wasted a 4th round pick on him. What do you guys think on the back-to-back picks? Scott, we'll go with you first.
I would pick Hurts. That's a really good pick right there, just as you said. And he's a lot better quarterback than people make him out to be too. He can. They call he can dime that sucker right in there. But Jonathan Taylor injuries. I guess you're getting to the point where you got to get a running back, and there probably are a few others that could be better out there, especially with like who's going to be running that offense. But Jonathan Taylor should have a majority of these snaps getting to him at least.
Yeah, these are just like solid, safe people at this point that you know what you're generally going to get.
Agree. I think that's the way now. So we'll go ahead and have it time for everyone ready for another laugh fest? KG's pick was Brian Robinson.
He might not even be the starter by week 1. So the way things are rolling.
That's why I'd heard nothing. I heard nothing to say that he was going to be the starter or that it's guaranteed. He was okay last year, right? I'll be honest. I didn't follow the running game with him too much. Was he? But I don't remember him being. I didn't think that he'd be picked, honestly.
There are a few injuries here and there, but he's a strong downhill runner. He can run fast and tough. But all this stuff came out today that he might be on the trade block.
Yeah. Which, hey, it depends on where he goes then if he does get traded.
Yeah.
So maybe that ends up being a steal for depending on where he goes. So we'll see how that all plays out. Then Lil Vic was up, and I do like this pick. Now, I mentioned him last week as being a good sleeper running back, and he's taken Chuba Hubbard out from Carolina. He's going to get the ball in Carolina. I do think you saw some life from Carolina the last 3 or 4 weeks of some semblance of a team that seems like maybe they might be knowing what they're doing a little bit. And so for him to get him there, I think was a nice, good pick.
Yep, agreed.
All right. I'm just gonna, if you guys have anything, then holler out. And another safe pick here. Pat takes Mike Evans. He's Baker's #1 guy. He does catch a lot of touchdowns. He's, again, this isn't just another one of those guys in the 4th round. You'd like to get a Mike Evans on your team because you know what you're gonna get. You don't have to worry about him. He has had a couple injuries here and there over his career, but for the most part, if he plays, you're probably going to get your 4 to 5, 6 carry, your 4 to 5 to 6 catches, anywhere from 40 to 80, 90 yards if he breaks one, and maybe a touchdown. Like he's a good safe guy to have on your team
every year.
Yeah, Midnight Rider. I think he's talking about KG's picks shenanigans. So I think we're probably in agreement on that, Midnight Rider. I think he went total homer for some reason. So I don't think he wants to give his real draft strategy. Is probably what this is. So, but that's okay. We'll let him go. So Marcus, who had to leave for his birthday, he comes around, and I love this pick in this spot. He goes and gets Joe Burrow, who I honestly had. If I would have gone quarterback early, he'd be probably the first quarterback I would have done, just because he's got so many fun targets to throw the ball to. I think he's going to be a touchdown machine this year. And Cincinnati's defense is not good, so that means they're going to be having to throw. They're going to be in some high-scoring games, which is always a good idea for a quarterback. So I love this pick for Marcus in this spot of getting maybe arguably the best quarterback in fantasy football. What do you guys think?
I'm always taking a running quarterback, because then I have like a floor. You're betting on him being a superstar. He could be a superstar. So I mean, this pick is not that bad where it is, but I just like the other guy ahead of him.
I agree, but that's what I mean. At this spot, I think Joe Burrow's a good pick.
Yeah, you get Joe Burrow at this spot. That's a good pick at this spot.
Yeah. All right, so then Chip was up, and he takes the next quarterback, Jaden Daniels. Scooter,
Okay.
I'll let you go here. What do you think? I mean, do we talk about the running part of it? Now he does have the running part of it here too. Maybe not quite as much as we thought he might, but he still clearly can run the ball, will run the ball when he needs to, and that's always nice in a fantasy format of getting those rushing yards.
Rushing, passing. I mean, we know that he's an amazing touchdown thrower in the corners. Maybe that's where Zach Ertz is going to get all his touchdowns.
Well, that KG can hope that. So then, Scooter, you are up. Who was your pick?
So it's kind of safe pick, but I'm definitely not getting quarterbacks yet this early for me personally. And then I looked at the tight ends. I'm like, you lose out on top 5 tight ends. Then you kind of – I think the tight ends are okay this season, but I saw Sam Laporta sitting there, so I wanted to get him. I know he had kind of a rough season last year. He had an ankle injury most of the season. He missed a game, only one game. He was tough. But in 2 seasons, he had 17 touchdowns. And he was the tight end 8 after having kind of a rough season last year. I think he gets a really big rebound this coming year. So I think there's big things to come from Laporta.
I agree. And I think this is where the format that I made you guys draft from, because I know from dealing with Axel behind the scenes and dealing with you, Scooter, there are a couple times where both guys were trying to take your third running backs or third wide receivers. Like, nope. You can only do that. So I think in this format that we did, where you had to take a quarterback, tight end, 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, getting a Laporta here makes sense. Whether or not we would have done that if you didn't have those restrictions put on you guys, I'm guessing probably not, right?
Probably not, but maybe not, because I do want to get that starting tight end, a top 5 tight end before, because we've seen in the past, once you get to that top 5, all of a sudden it's like a bunch of blocking starters.
You might as well wait till your last pick.
Right. At least on me.
All right. Axel, you're up, so go ahead and give us your pick.
My last pick before I head out, I gave you some notes on my other picks, but
I saw that.
Kittle, I mean, this is crazy. This guy is, first, Jaden Daniels was like a dagger in my heart, because if I were to get, again, there were some knockout blows here. I'm still regretting this Lad McConkey pick now that I've but yeah, Kittle was the #1 wide receiver last year, and you got all these guys that are like, this is #1, this is #2, #3. You also have an 49ers offense that right now they have the same quarterback, but they have hurt players, and every time these wide receivers have gone down or McCaffrey's gone down, the one guy that stepped up has been George Kittle. He's so solid. I have absolute confidence if he stays on the field. He's 31. If he stays on the field, at minimum he's a top 5 tight end, and there's no reason to think he can't be 1 or 2 again.
Right.
because he's gonna get the volume, and he has the rapport with the quarterback. So to me, it's a no-brainer pick, and I'd rather have George Kittle in the 4th round than any of these tight ends earlier that you're betting if this happens. We've seen it with George Kittle. We know what he can do.
Yeah, he was in that. Was it Sam Laporta, or it was going to be one of these two guys I picked.
Yeah, I'm glad you picked Laporta, because that would have been a much tougher choice. Because this quarterback, at that point, I was not like, excited about any of them. I think they're good. I think that you still get a good crop at that second level. But after those first 4 drop, it's a pretty significant drop.
Yeah,
so.
Exactly. Right.
Agree. And Vic's trying to make you feel better about your McConkey pick, because that's one of his other keepers for you, Axel. So he's saying that he likes.
I mean, if I'm in a keeper league, that's different. But
all right. Well, I know you said you got a heart out here too, so I definitely appreciate you joining in. You are welcome back anytime.
I'll talk fantasy all day, man.
I appreciate the love that you gave for the Sideline Junkies podcast network on your own post too. So I appreciate that. Keep spreading it. We are here. We got all kinds of good shows. So I definitely appreciate you coming on, and you are welcome back anytime, sir.
Awesome. I'll see you guys. Take it easy.
Right, take care. All right. So real quick, let me go ahead here. I know she's not going to get much into it, but just that way she's on the screen. We'll bring in our Showtime Sarah. She's here. How you doing? So far through the draft, and I know you're not big into fantasy football, is there anybody that you hate so far? Any names that have come out that you hate so far, Sarah? That's what I know. That's what Midnight Rider's going to want to know. Is there any names that you hate so far?
I low-key wasn't paying attention. Has Patrick Mahomes been drafted yet?
He is not.
Okay.
But just wait for that.
Okay. Yeah. We'll wait.
All right. So we'll keep rolling through here. So we're going to go ahead here and get through these. So Tyreek Hill goes off the board from Dustin. So that was the 9th pick. So that gets me up. So now I've got what I have left is 2 running backs, and a quarterback. And my first pick was pretty easy because I couldn't believe that Kyron Williams was still sitting there. So he's going to be the starter for the Rams. I know sometimes in the years past they've kind of done this little thing with where you're not sure who's going to get the ball. But last year seemed like it was Kyron's job unless he was hurt. So getting him here, and the fact I have no running backs was a steal. Now it comes to my next pick. And what did I say last week? Who was the guy that I was going to avoid at quarterback? He was my number 1 quarterback. I said I wasn't going to pick Patrick Mahomes, but when you're sitting there at round 5,
yeah, you need a quarterback.
You need a quarterback.
Yeah, and MVP's sitting there.
And I was debating between, do I get my second running back here? But I looked at the team's rosters and realized there weren't going to be many more running backs to come off the board, but there were teams that still needed quarterbacks. So with that being said, Sarah, perfect timing, because you said, has Patrick Mahomes been drafted yet? And that answer was no, until your good old Paul takes him. So there you go.
Level of betrayal. Okay.
Well, I said, remember last week I said in the show I wasn't gonna take him, but I had to. So that means that you hate Patrick Mahomes. Is that what you're saying?
I really hate him.
Well, then there we go. It's officially on the board. So we got to put that counter up on there. So yeah, and like I said, I don't really like him either. But when you got an MVP sitting there, I just felt like I just didn't have a choice but to take him at number 5 for my first pick. So then that brought back Dustin. He's filling again. We're getting to the point now where we've only got 1 or 2 spots left on a roster. He's filling out his roster, getting his tight end with TJ Hockenson. I don't hate the pick. If he's healthy, he's a great pick there.
Great pick. Yeah, it's a great pick.
Alex takes the rookie, which I really do like this pick a lot. I actually thought about this. If I was going to go with the running back instead of Mahomes, Hampton would have been the pick because I really like him a lot. He's drafted super high. Everyone talks about Gianti, but the Chargers know how to run the ball, and Harris is nowhere to be found right now. Will take over as the 4th down back, a steal, which I agree. I like him at this pick. Like I said, if I was going to still go running back, he probably would have been the running back I took. I kind of was hoping maybe nobody would take him and he'd sneak around to the very last pick. That didn't obviously work out. He only lasted 2 picks after that. But it's a good pick by him for sure.
Hey, Axel stuck with his guns too. He said that he's going to go over with the young guys over the older.
And he did. He's got a very young roster, which when you look at everyone's roster, you'll see youth on his side for sure.
Hey, a rookie running back is supposed to be good.
No problems with that. Yeah.
Marion Hampton, UNC native, Clayton native actually too.
Is he? I did not know that.
He graduated from Clayton, I'm pretty sure.
Huh. I did not know that. Well, that makes them fun to watch and even better. All right, Scooter, you had this pick. Who did you take?
Like I was happy he was sitting there. It's T. Higgins. I mean, how can you not? Okay,
Yeah.
so he only played 12 games last year, but he was wide receiver 6 for points per game in fantasy last year. He had 911 yards, 10 touchdowns. So he does get injured, but he got paid. So that's what counts. But yeah, I mean, it's a no-brainer.
I think it was a solid pick. You needed a wide receiver. He's sitting out there. He's going to get his carry. He's going to get his targets just like Chase. You know that those two guys are going to be who Burrows looks for 1-2. So I got no problem with that pick. Then Chip came up. He takes Garrett Wilson again. You know, kind of similar to me. He said he's got too much upside and talent not to take here. You know, Fields is going to, for him, it's always been about, can he find a quarterback to throw him the ball? Maybe that will be Fields. That's going to be the whole problem for Garrett Wilson. I mean,
that's a problem with the Jets. How much are they going to throw this year?
Yep. Let's see. Here you go. Vic says he went to Cleveland High School in Wisseby, so it's Cleveland High, not Clayton High. But Cleveland, for those that don't think in Cleveland, Ohio, that's Cleveland, North Carolina, which is a little, if you can call it a suburb of Clayton. It's kind of like it's like barely a suburb, but it's outside the Raleigh area, basically. For those that don't know where Clayton and Cleveland are in North Carolina. Marcus was then up, and he takes.
There's a Clayton Ravine out in California near Hill Valley.
Yeah,
it's named after a teacher.
Well, I don't know if that's what this school is named after or the little suburb division, but we can go with that for sure.
Future reference.
I did, but I was trying to play along. All right. So then we go with McMillan for a wide receiver for Carolina, who again, I think this is one of the up and coming guys for Carolina. If Carolina is going to improve, it's going to be because of this guy. So it's his go along with Lamb. So I don't mind that pick there. We'll see how it goes for him and with Carolina. Patrick, I really like this pack. He goes and gets Smith-Njigba from Seattle because he's going to be the guy now there for sure with everyone else that's gone. So he's going to be the guy. It's just a question of, will Seattle's offense produce or not?
All he does is score touchdowns.
He does get a lot of touchdowns, that's for sure. Then Lil Vic was up. He takes Kyler Murray, so he goes and fills his quarterback position. It's an okay pick. I don't mind it. So
at this point, I love that pick.
Yeah, agree. I don't disagree with that at all. And then that brings back KG, and he goes and gets a handcuff at least. Right? Is Eckler going to be the starter then if Robinson's gone? Is that how that would work?
He had 2 concussions last season. One was a grade 3. He's 30 years old, and he has had 4 known concussions.
Yeah,
he's putting that out there.
I know. Oh, I've missed this one here. Vic put down talking about Hampton. He beat up on Clayton a lot. All right. There we go. So then Nancy came around for her last 2 picks. She goes and gets Breece Hall, running back for the Jets. A great pick here this late. I loved it. And then she goes and gets Marvin Harrison Jr. Again. Yeah, agree. I think getting him this late, it's one of those. It's a gamble maybe, but I like it there at that spot for sure. So I didn't hate that pick either. Then KG comes back around. He takes a wide receiver from KC. I just was surprised to see it was going to be Hopkins instead of either Worthy or Rice, but he goes and gets the old man, DeAndre Hopkins. So we'll see how that goes. I think that would have been a good pick 5 years ago.
Debo was available.
I know. I thought for sure he would have taken Debo.
What's up?
But yeah. If you're going to go full Washington, just ride it.
You're going to go full Debo.
Yeah. So a little flaw there for him.
He screwed up. Lose.
All right. So Lil Vic goes and gets one of the rookie tight ends. He goes and gets Tyler Warren to fill his tight end spot. I think that's a solid pick there. No issues with that. Pat also needing a tight end, goes and gets a solid one. Evan Ingram, the tight end from Denver. Marcus then was up. He also needed a tight end.
Here's all the tight ends.
Yep, he goes and gets Njoku from Cleveland. Can't argue with that pick. Chip was then up. He also needed a tight end, and there goes Travis Kelce. So you like Kelce, Sarah, but you don't like Mahomes. Is that it?
Yeah, I mean Kelce isn't problematic. He's dating Taylor Swift. Hello.
All right, Scooter, your pick. You took the quarterback. Why did you take J.J. McCarthy?
I took J.J. McCarthy. Okay, so it could be questionable, but first of all, I'm matching him up with Justin Jefferson. So they're going to have like 137 touchdowns combined. Also, people think, he's going to run the ball. He doesn't know how to pass. That dude can throw like no one's business. He's a really good quarterback. He is an athlete and a half. And when the players, they did this golf tournament, he like had an ace and he won like the golf tournament for his team. So he is just he's going to go some lights out this year.
Okay. I don't disagree with the pick. I think with the quarterbacks that were left, he's worth the risk. I think all these guys got some risk to them, but they could have the reward. And if he does do what Minnesota's offense did last year, he's going to put up points.
And the fact that I had Justin Jefferson there, that was kind of a thing.
Yep. So then Alex needed his quarterback, and he decided on Baker. Let me pull up here his comments. He said, best quarterback available, solid core around him, solid floor. So, yeah, I think Baker, you know what you're going to get with Baker in Tampa Bay.
But here's the problem. Axel brought up the fact that which offensive lineman went down.
Yeah, true. And I think he might pick might have been made before that, too. So. Yep, but yeah, that is a good point because he did mention about the offensive line, and yet he takes Baker.
He works for the running back and the quarterback.
Yep. So Dustin goes and gets Jared Goff, which again, I love that pick here because Detroit's just so loaded with there's so many weapons, and I know that they've got a new offensive coordinator, but let's be honest, it's still Dan Campbell's team. He is going to throw the ball. He's going to throw the ball on goal line situations because I think that's Dan Campbell. I don't think that's changing because he's got a new offensive coordinator. So I like this pick there. That left me with the last pick. I needed a running back at this point. There were a few different ways I could have gone. I went with, I think, a risk, but at the same time has high upside, and that's DeAndre Swift because I do think Chicago's offensive line is going to be better. He doesn't have much as far as other threats of taking a job from him, and so that's who I took with my very last pick.
That's a good pick.
All right. So with that ends the draft part of it. So let's take this is kind of a quick look. I know this isn't going to, I was afraid it was going to be hard to read on here, but this is kind of, I should have probably put in a bolder font than what I did, but so that's not really legible. So I apologize, guys. I was hoping it's legible on the screen when I pull it up, but seeing it on here, not so much, but it's supposed to be a look at every team round by round. So you could kind of see everybody, but it's not the greatest. So you can't even read that. Let's be honest. So I'm not just going to pass through. So here are some snubs, and it's kind of funny. Talk about the running back. I did think about Connor. That was the other guy. These were just guys, and this was just based off of purely the NFL.com's top 50 rankings. These were guys in the top 50 that did not get drafted. Joe Mixon's got some injury troubles. Devontae Adams, I think it just kind of shows how far he's fallen. He's gone from top 5, top 10 to not taken in the first 60 picks in this draft. Cortland Sutton was a little surprising when you really look at it. I think Rashid Rice is just the concerns of KC, which is the same reason why I was a little fearful of Mahomes.
Wasn't he going to get suspended for a few games?
Yeah, he may be that too. So I think that makes sense too in this type of a fun thing that we did. And DJ Moore was a little bit surprised because he had a hell of a year for Chicago. I thought maybe that somebody would take him. So these were just some of the snubs from the top 50.
There's always going to be snubs.
There are. So Washington leads the way with 5. Now, granted, KG had 4 of them. But I do think if we're being fair, I think somebody would have taken Zach Ertz. I'm not too sure. I don't think anyone would have taken Eller. I'm not so sure about Robinson. Maybe still as the second running back, somebody takes.
Maybe Robinson, definitely Jaden.
Yeah, Jaden, I got no problem with. McLaren, I have no problems with, and Ertz. So there's 3 guys for Washington that definitely were going to get picked. I'm not too sure about the other 2. Cincy and Detroit both had 4 each. Arizona, KC, Philly, Minnesota, Tampa had 3 each. I think what's always interesting too is from the fantasy side, what teams don't get anyone's picks, because I think what that tells you is that nobody really feels comfortable with anyone on these teams' offense, and that's Pittsburgh, New Orleans, Tennessee, and New England. Nobody got picked from any of those teams.
Yeah. I mean, Kamara, what's up?
Yeah. Well, I think that Kamara's age, right? I think that's the problem when you're doing this. And I think that there's just running backs now that are, and you just don't know what the hell New Orleans is going to do. Same thing with Tennessee with a rookie quarterback, maybe New England. I thought maybe
New Orleans chooses their quarterback. Yeah.
Right. And Pittsburgh, is that the Aaron Rodgers effect? We just don't know what they're going to do. That's what Jared just said. I think
I think next year Tennessee will have Cam Ward on there because I think Cam Ward can have a nice season.
Yep, I think that's true too. All right, so that takes care of that. Give me 1 second here if I can do this right. I'm gonna. Isn't that pretty? But I'm gonna do this here. So I want to stop sharing for a second. Ben put in here Tristan.
Thank you, Ben. Tristan Wirfs. He's the tackle.
Yes. All right, that's the guy that got. All right, so now let's see here if I can do this right. And then we'll bring up here. We're gonna share a screen again. We're gonna come here, and we're gonna do this one. So we'll get back here to this one. It's going to take a couple seconds to load that up here. And while that loads up here, I'm going to find my little notes and move that over there like so. All right, perfect. So we kind of flipped the order around of the show because we had a couple guys that were from the draft. I do have a few other topics, though, that we do want to cover real quick. So we'll start with a real quick look in the mirror view mirror. And hopefully here that shit. There it is. Look at that. Perfect timing for that. Some quick NBA news. The Boston sale did get finalized. The guys talked about this a little bit. Tom Dunn, who owns the Carolina Hurricanes, put in to buy the Portland Trail Blazers. The key for that whole bit is that he has not has any plans to move the team out of Portland. He's going to keep them there. So it's good for Portland. I think it's also good for Tom Dunn because what he's really doing, he's building up some arsenal because what Tom really wants is a Major League Baseball team in Raleigh, and I think he's trying to build some more ownership and some more stock that way to help that bid for baseball in Raleigh. So that's my thoughts on it. Scott, I'll let you go first.
Don't they always say, we're going to keep this team here? They always say that. And
I know you know something about that, yes.
Tom,
now, in fairness, it wasn't Tom that did it.
Boston Celtics, they're not going anywhere. I mean, their ownership is from Boston. They're all Boston people, like Harvard, right. All the thing. And but Tom Dundon, I guess he's from like Texas or New York. His leadership is in Dallas, I think. Yes. And so he's a little over the place. So he goes up there and he buys the Trailblazers, who they're in an arena that's 30 years old almost. Okay, so those are old. New owners don't like those. It's also owned by the city. Mm-hmm. So the city owns it 100%. So the Portland Trailblazers, just like the Kansas City Chiefs and just like the Kansas City Royals, they simply lease their arena or stadium. So they don't even own it. There's a contract that was just recently signed to keep them there for another 5 years. Then it's over. Those contracts, usually you can get out of those pretty quick. Now, if you look at television markets, the television market of Portland, Oregon is the 21st largest television market in the country. By a few less 100,000, maybe 200,000 less or 100,000 less, is this one region. It's the 23rd largest, called Raleigh. Mm-hmm. And I believe we had a little conversation off screen before with Marcus, where people in Raleigh don't really care about Charlotte Hornet basketball.
Correct. Sarah, I think you can support that, right? Because you live there too. There's just no love for the Hornets.
You find it every now and then, but it's not super common.
Yep.
And at some point, the Carolina Hurricanes, they're going to have to get themselves a new arena too. But their arena, if I did my research right, it is also owned mostly, if not the whole thing, by at least the city jurisdiction of Raleigh.
Yes, but they did just redo the lease for the Canes, so they've got a new lease.
Right, for like 20 years, right?
Yep, and they're doing that whole area up around where PNC sits at. And he has control over that entire area. So I don't think they're leaving that PNC arena because he's the one that's in charge of building up the area around it, which means he's going to be making all that money.
Well, hey, he may make a lot more of that money if he has the Raleigh Trailblazers.
So you think they might try to move him to Raleigh?
That's got to be his plan. What tie does he have to Portland?
I'd have to see. I thought that there was something out there that said that with him buying it, that I don't know how long he had to put in an agreement that he would not move them.
It's only 5 years.
5 years. So I thought there was some time that he said that he had to keep them there. So
that's because of the agreement that was signed last summer by the Portland Trailblazers ownership, which was actually not Steve Jobs, but Allen.
Right.
He died in 2018. It's his family that owns it.
Yep. Yeah. Sarah, what do you think? You think that are you buying what Scooter's selling, that Tom secretly does want to move Portland to Raleigh?
No, there's not much want for MLB team in Raleigh. At least I haven't heard anything. There's been nothing in the wind. I feel like, prove me wrong. I'm not really on the side of basketball. Hello. But I mean, yes, for Charlotte, I think they obviously have a good fan base. but they're not great right now, so nobody really talks about them like that. Like I said, like the only thing I know is like LaMelo Ball, and that is it. That is all I know. And I don't even think LaMelo Ball is even that good anymore. Like I think he had like a good rookie year, and that was kind of like it for him. So that is the only player I know. Obviously, I don't associate with basketball, but at least in North Carolina, I think it's at a comfortable spot, but we don't need a second one. We're not big enough for that. Unless they're planning on moving Charlotte, but that's a whole different conversation.
Right. And I think the problem for Raleigh is too, you got NC State that plays there. So you'd be adding a third team into the arena, unless NC State goes back on campus somewhere, but I don't think that that's going to happen. So I don't know. And Midnight Rider puts in here, the deal was contingent on the team staying in Portland. Midnight, do you know, was it just the 5 years though, like Scooter's talking about, or was that like some type of long-term, more than 5 years that he has to keep them there? Just let me know if you, I think you do know more about that.
The news outlet was saying to keep the team in Portland.
That's what I had heard, but I didn't know that there was an end date on that. So it is interesting if there is one. So let me know, Midnight, if you know of one that's in there. Anthony finally checking in, saying hi. How you doing, buddy? I don't know if you saw any of the mock draft, but if not, go back, check that out. I think you will enjoy it. I'd love to see your thoughts on it. Midnight Rider saying not sure if there was an end date on how long he had to keep him there. So we'll see how that part goes for sure.
It kind of goes like the Carolina Hurricanes, who Tom Dundon owns. Yep. Interestingly enough, they came from Hartford. They were the Hartford Whalers, so you can throw that on there too.
I got you now.
And so the previous owner of the Carolina Hurricanes, the last owner of the Hartford Whalers, who moved them, Peter Karmanos Jr., he did this basically the same day. The Hartford Civic Center was owned by the state of Connecticut, and he came up with this whole agreement. When I'm buying the team, we're keeping it here, we're moving the headquarters of CompuWare from Detroit over to Hartford. That never happened.
Never happened.
And,
right.
And within a year, we're leaving. It's like, well, you're supposed to be here for like 3 years.
Yeah, I knew where your heart was coming from on this Scooter, and of course it sucks too that it's the guy that now owns the Hurricane. So I know it's just rubs
different owner, totally different.
I know it is, but I know the whole Carolina Hartford thing rubs some salt in your wounds, and I get it. Like, look, I hate that the Carolina Hurricanes came from the Hartford Whalers, because you know me, one of my favorite jerseys of all time is the Hartford Whaler green jersey. Like, I love that jersey. I actually loved the Hartford Whalers as a team that I cheered for. So I get it, on that side of it. So
well, I'm just looking at the business side of it, the business aspect and those things. I mean, we've heard this from many places before. When someone buys a team, within a few years, the team moves.
Vic says almost made the whole show, Scooter, talking about the Hartford count. So I like that. Anthony says, was KG upset that he kept on getting the scraps every round? I don't know that was his strategy, honestly. I'm hoping that KG gets on here to maybe try to defend his strategy. It just seemed like he went more homer to me for the Commanders than anything else. I think he was having fun, and I think the secret is because he does a Sideline Junkies one. I think he just didn't want to give what he's really thinking. I think that's what it is. I think this owner is going to keep the Trailblazers in Portland because there's an established fan base there already, so he doesn't have to build a brand new fan base from that ground up. Maybe. Yeah, and we'll see. Yeah, because you do have a lot of Seattle Supersonic fans that I think probably went up to Portland once the Sonics left. So we'll see. Maybe he tries to move them to Seattle. Go back to Seattle for a little bit. But
if you do move them out east, then you got to deal with a little realignment shift. Yeah. So you can move them east, and then you can put New Orleans in the west.
Yeah.
Or even better. I'm sorry, Milwaukee.
Yeah.
Like that's an Eastern team.
All right, so real quick too, I want to get into this grind my gears. There's been a lot of talk about these male cheerleaders showing up in NFL teams. Minnesota had a couple, New England has one, and a lot of people are pissed off about it. And my response to you is fuck off. Who cares? I do not watch NFL games because of who's on the sidelines cheerleading. Okay, maybe when I was younger and I was a little boy and you saw the Raiderettes and the Dallas Cowboys, and that was maybe your first interest to a lady, that was maybe a little bit different, because then, yeah, sure. Because, hold on, is Sarah, you there? Are you listening? Sarah, what are guys and boys?
Stupid.
Yes. So as a stupid young boy, did I like watching the Raiderettes move around the field and the Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders? Sure, of course I did. Growing up, do I care or watch them? No, I don't. I don't get it. I don't care why it matters that there are guys cheering It doesn't matter. If anything, like it just doesn't matter. Like why, if you get that upset, don't watch them. There's no one that's forcing you to watch the cheerleaders. When you go to an NFL game, do you sit there and actually watch the cheerleaders? There are male cheerleaders in college sports. They've been around forever. Male cheerleaders have always been around. They just haven't necessarily been in the NFL. They're on dance teams all over the place. So why do you care? Why do you need them to quit? Why is this a woke thing? It's not a woke thing. Guys want to go and be cheerleaders. So the hell what? Does it affect you? Does it make your life different in any way, shape, or form? The answer is no. It doesn't. It doesn't change your life in any way, shape, or form that there's a dude out there dancing around with pom-poms or whatever. I don't care. Why should you care? Just go cheer your damn team. If that's your team, them having a male cheerleader shouldn't make a difference to you. It just shouldn't. If that's why you're watching the sport and why you're watching the team because of their cheerleading squad, then you're not watching football for the right reasons. I'm sorry, or whatever sport that is. The Carolina Hurricanes have their little dance squad. They got dudes that do it too. No one gives a shit. The people don't give a shit. Stop giving a shit about who's on the sidelines cheering. Stop giving a shit about what people do. Doesn't fucking affect you. Stop it. All right.
Literally
Sorry,
what
Scooter.
I told you earlier.
All right. There we go. I told you I was going to go off today. So if you guys want to add anything on it, feel free to.
That was good. I like it. I'll add a few things. I think a lot of it has to do more like I don't think like I'm more on the conservative side of things as
I know.
a little more on the liberal side. But I have a lot of friends like just go on Facebook. I didn't even know about it. Okay, no one I knew even mentioned it. So I think there's a lot of like there were probably a few people out there that mentioned something, and then it became like all these people hate these people. So I think it kind of spread a little too much because in fact, like if you go to like I went to the Fox News website today just to see what they said about it, and the only thing is all it said was that Minnesota Viking male cheerleaders respond back to criticism. And so that was and I read it and was like, okay, there wasn't any take on it, like either bad or good. But the NFL for the, I guess, past 6-7 years, there's 12 teams that actually have men who are on cheer team, dance team, whatever. Me personally, I'm kind of like you. I don't care.
You're
Hey,
right.
man, I'm not paying attention to any of that stuff. Like I'm trying to see what the defense is trying to do against the quarterback. That's me. But I don't think most people pay attention to that stuff. I mean, maybe they do. But, I mean, like you were saying, I was going to bring up the fact, but you brought it up too, is that men have been in college on their cheer teams for years. I mean,
Right.
they put them up. I had fraternity brothers who were on the cheer team.
Right.
So, I mean, hey,
We don't care about there. Why do we care about it at the NFL?
Yeah.
I just don't get it.
And then you can even go back to like, okay, George Walker Bush, President George W. Bush, he was actually on the Yale cheer team.
Yes, he
And
was.
he was the guy that was pumping everybody up. I mean,
Yep.
his dad was the captain of the Yale baseball team at one point. But yeah, so I mean, even former male presidents have been on the cheer team. Just putting it out there.
All right, Sarah. I know you enjoy watching me scream and yell. So what do you got on it?
So here's the thing. I'm Gen Z. I have TikTok. It is all over my TikTok. And most of it is support. I literally have the male cheerleader that you are talking about on my TikTok. It's like it's called to me. And there is literally no issue with it at all. And the thing is, it's been happening for years. Why just now it's becoming an issue? I don't know. Like, I'm pretty sure there's even a the first trans cheerleader, I think he just came back, or I think sorry, it might be she. They're coming back to Carolina. Like, I think they're cheering for Carolina. So we have so much more diversity, and I don't really think it's necessarily a bad thing. Like, it's not it's really not bad at all. It's just like the same people that get mad because Taylor Swift gets on. Like, it's literally the same
Right.
people, if I do say. Like,
Probably right.
I get mad that Taylor Swift gets on their screen because they're not seeing 3 seconds of football. Like,
I agree.
it's just the same, you know?
Midnight says, "Wow, we have to get Jack to cut this up." Talking about Jum and Jack. Then Anthony puts in some comments here, kind of agreeing with us. Sarah, Matt, and Scooter, can you explain to me why people get so uptight and have a stick up their ass for this type of shit? It doesn't affect you or your team. That's what I said in my grind my gears. It doesn't affect anything on the ice. I'm gay. Say this. People who get offended by this type of shit are people are stuck in their mother's goddamn basement and have no lives or these backwards. I'm not going to
chocolate. That's a good. I like. That's a good word. He is an educated man.
Yeah, that's solid right there. So I love the comments, Anthony. So, and thank you guys all for dealing with my grind my gears, but it just had to be said. It was just annoying me. So, all right. Quick baseball weekend update. The Colorado Rockies are maybe screwing us up again. They won 5 games this last week. They are now up to 35 wins. They're playing 282 ball, which means they're on pace to win 10 more games, which would bring them up to 45 games, meaning that they would win 4 more games than the Chicago White Sox. So this was a really bad week if you're hoping that the Colorado Rockies are going to be up for the worst record in baseball. They're going to have to go on a nice little losing streak here now, which they have done before. They have lost 8, 10, 12, 14 games already this year in a row at different times. So it is possible. But there we go. So here you go. Here you go. Sarah's question for you. Sarah, have you ever seen your dad snap like this before? I want to keep the stupid crap that happens in sports. You know me. Do I ever really get mad about a lot of things other than my sports teams?
The oven.
The oven. Well, yeah. There's one time I was trying to move the oven. There's a lot of different curse words that came out when I moved the oven that day because it kept getting stuck on the linoleum. Yeah, I created some new curse words that day. But for the most part, Anthony, no, I do not get this mad about unless it's about stupid stuff. So yes, you're correct.
You think oven beats this?
Does oven beat the? I don't know. You were there for the oven. I think the oven still beats it, doesn't it? I think I created new curse words on that day. It's like the scene from Christmas Story, where it's just like different words, or Yosemite Sam. That was me. Oh yeah, baseball. Yeah, this is true, Vic. I did, and technically, like my wife pointed out, he was not a streaker because he was fully clothed, other than he had no shoes on. But he was wearing a Mansell jersey. He came across the field on Friday, got tackled by a couple of Cleveland's finest. So that was a little bit of baseball news. Then he got back up. They fought him, and then they had to tackle him back down again. It was terrible timing. Cantillo had the bases loaded with a 3-1 count, and there was like a good 7-minute break between this happening. So you knew there's no chance in hell the next pitch he was throwing was a strike, and it was a ball, and it walked in a run, and they lost. That point made it 1-0. They lost 2-0. Milwaukee's win streak does end at 14 games. It looked like it was going to hit 15 yesterday. They got 2 runs in the top of the 9th when they get a home run from Contreras. But then since he gets one back in the bottom of the 9th, and then they get the only run in the 10th to win the game and end the streak. But shout out to the Milwaukee Brewers and their 14-game winning streak. I'm kind of rooting for Milwaukee. I'd love to see them come out of the NL and surprise the Dodgers for sure. Any love for the Brewers out there?
No, but I watched the game yesterday. You're not going to put this up here, but it was it was 11:30 on Roku Sports.
Oh, yeah.
The Phillies at the Nats, and that was an extraordinarily great game.
It was going to be 10-6 was the final.
Yeah,
The
Phillies are up 6-0 in like the 3rd. By the 5th inning, it's 6-6.
Right.
By the 9th inning, by the 8th inning, it's 12-6. By the end of the game, it's 12-9. It was really good. Cruz had an amazing throw out from right field. I mean, that dude can throw, and he just got back from oblique problems too. So,
I think that game kind of simplifies with the Nats. Like, I think they got the offense to be a decent team, and they show that night in, night out. It's just that pitching staff is just, they got to figure it out. San Diego and LA had a big weekend series. LA sweeps San Diego to reclaim a 2-game lead. So I kind of feel like sometimes LA just plays with feel like they're in the point where they're just playing with their food right now. I think they're just waiting until October. They don't really seem to care if they win the division or they get a wild card. They just seem to be kind of playing with their food and just waiting, but don't really seem to care, But this weekend, it seems like maybe this weekend series woke them up because the one game was close, but for the most part, they won each game pretty handily in this whole entire series to reclaim the lead. And if San Diego thought that they were ready for LA, I think they kind of said no.
Yeah, this is scary for the rest of at least the National League and then possibly the entire sport, because LA, I mean, they just got all those guys in the trades.
Yep.
And now they're starting. Now it's working.
All right, Sarah, this is for you. You said that there was a special Major League Baseball debut kind of close to the hearts of folks in Carolina. What was it?
Yes. So if you did not hear, I believe, when did I text you about this? This was yesterday. I
Friday?
texted you.
Saturday? Something, yeah.
Yeah. So the
One of
game was on Saturday. Nolan McLean had his pitching debut for the Mets. He played phenomenal. I don't know if you watched any of the highlights. He actually made a great double play. My boyfriend says he killed them. The special connection is this is actual my boyfriend's cousin.
Awesome.
McLean is from Willow Spring, which is about like 30 minutes from me, and he went to school over in Garner. So I don't. Where did he go to college? You know where he went to college? He went to State. So he played at State. So this is a lot of great connections, if you do say so. But no, he had a great debut. Like, I'm pretty sure, of course, obviously the Mets were very hyped about it. But it was a 3-1 final, I think, against what? Oh, okay. 3-0, even better. Against, you should know this. Who was it against?
That was Friday that he pitched?
It was the
Yeah.
Mariners. Yeah,
It was the Mariners? I think it was the Mariners. So, but he had a phenomenal game, and yes, it is very local, and I think it's a very cool story. It's very nice when like somebody local, even like with Marion Hampton, like if anybody makes a big league in the pros, it's very cool, especially like local, like 30 minutes from like I've been in Willow Springs before, you know, and obviously like I'm technically I don't know him, but I have some sort of connection in a way.
Final score was 3-1. He pitched 5 in the
3-1.
third
I
inning.
freaking told you.
Two only gave up 2 hits, 4 walks, and 8 strikeouts. So yeah, that's a solid debut.
Stats. That's
a solid debut line. I'll give you that. So
That's some
congrats
good fantasy points right there too.
Yeah, congrats to him.
Points.
All right, Anthony's got a question here. Do you think my Marlins finally come back down to earth this month? Because directly after the All-Star break, we were winning the last 10 out of 20 series the past 2.5 months. Yeah, I mean, look, I saw them. You know, they were just here in Cleveland. You know, Cleveland took 2 out of 3 from that series, but every game was, you know, they blew us out the one game. We blew you guys out the one game. I think the Marlins' same problems is just the pitching. You know, it just needs time. So yeah, I mean, your Marlins are sitting 7 back in the wild card. Let me take a look here at the standings real quick. They're 7 back. And I think the problem is you got 4 teams in front of you.
Stowers is injured too.
Yeah, you got Arizona, San Francisco, St. Louis, and Cincy is the closest to the 3 wildcard teams. So I'm not going to say that it's over, but I think it's going to be tough. You know, it's just you got too many teams ahead of you now that not only do you have to play great ball, you probably got to play 650, 700 ball the rest of the way through, but then you need 4 teams to play under 500 that are ahead of you. So it's always tough when you're 7 back and you're staring at 40 games left in the season. Not that it hasn't been done before. It's just usually easier when you just got one team. Like if you only had the Reds to catch, maybe, but with that many teams in front of you, there's just too many teams now. You know, maybe Cleveland gives you a little bit of help this weekend because we're playing Arizona in a 3-game series. So but Cleveland just got whipped by the Braves, who are just playing really good ball. Just a little too late for the Braves right now. But you know, so we'll see. But yeah, I think sadly your Marlins are probably done, but I still think you guys got a lot of good stuff to look forward to. You just need to add a couple little pieces during the off season. So
I think that Stowers getting injured there. He's got a left oblique issue. I mean, he's on the 10-day IL, but I mean, it's supposed to be weeks. So who knows if he's going to play again.
Yeah, and Anthony puts in here, San Francisco's way too inconsistent, and I agree, they are. So you probably can pass San Francisco. You're only a game behind San Francisco. You probably even pass St. Louis. It's just since he's a little bit further. I don't know that the Mets are going to play that badly to fall out of the wild card spot. San Diego's 3 games ahead of the Mets. The Cubs are 4 games ahead of them. I just don't know that the Mets are going to fall far enough behind for you to make up that ground. That's really the key. You might end up getting to where you're the top team that's not in the wild card spot, but I don't know. It's going to be hard, but hey, you know, you get back to 500, see where things are at, and then you go from there, you know, so we'll see how these next couple series go. Who do you guys got? Who do you guys got this weekend here? Let me pull it up here. They have an off day. Looks like today on Tuesday, you guys got, who did they play? Where are they at on here? Oh, they play the Phillies, so that's not easy. You got to turn right around and play the Phillies the next 3 games. So we'll see how that goes. If you get 2 out of 3 from the Philly, we'll talk next week. Let's see how the series goes against Philly. It could be a make or break. I've said this season for me was about seeing how young guys are playing to actually make the playoffs. The playoffs would have been good, but I don't really care about that. No, I think you're seeing. I think if you are a Marlins or a Pirates fan, you are way happier being a Marlins fan than a Pirates fan going into next year with what you've seen for sure. NFL preseason week 2. Let's just hit this real quick because the next show comes up at 7, and I want to give them time to reset everything. I don't really have anything from week 2. There was nothing really that really stood out for me. The big news today: Cleveland did officially name Joe Flacco as their quarterback because I think they want to have their last preseason game be a trial run. I don't think this is really any surprise. Cleveland's first 6 weeks are brutal. You should not throw one of these young kids, and Sanders has got an injury the oblique injury that he's dealing with. So who knows, and Gabriel was okay in his debut, but you're just not going to throw these guys out in the first week. It makes too much sense. You got Flacco sitting there. I think Kenny, would have had a chance. Pickett would have had a chance, but he's hurt too. Still hasn't really played a game. So I think it's Joe Flacco, and you're just hoping to survive.
Yeah, Flacco's the man out there right now. You got Jackson Dart did really well with the Giants, so he's actually the best looking rookie quarterback right now. Looks like Teddy Bridgewater had 2 touchdowns the other day.
He did.
Come on, yeah, go Teddy. That would be awesome. And Caleb Williams had a really good game. So these are some quarterbacks that you can look towards that are starting to get better. The Raiders. So Ashton Jenney and I love Dante Thornton Jr. Those guys.
He's having a
so your tight end, you got problems. There's I know it's preseason, but there's a rotation going on. Rotation going on.
I think you're going to see Bowers, and I think they're talking about making Myers, who's the guy that they took from Notre Dame a couple years back. They're talking about that he might end up being more like a wide receiver 3 than a tight end, so they can get this kid some more reps at tight end. So we'll see how that all plays out. Or do you trade one of these guys?
Chip Kelly, when he was with the Eagles, he had Ertz and what was the other guy? Selleck. I mean, they were splitting time at tight end. So I know that Bowers is awesome, but that's something to keep an eye on, I guess.
And I know there's some concern that Axel brought up with Bowers, but if you look at Seattle's offense in the past, Geno has always liked having a good tight end to be his thing. And I don't think that the Raiders really have that deep guy yet. So I still think Bowers is going to get his share of work. He's gonna run the ball. So I think you're going to see Bowers and Genty get a lot of stuff still. But we'll see how that all plays out. All right. Anything else on the NFL preseason, sir? You got anything that you saw or anything, or did you even watch it? I didn't watch a single.
Lost.
Yeah, but it's preseason. I don't care about that.
Yeah.
So.
Washington tonight.
Yep. All right. So there we go. It's not much there. We already did this. All right. So next week, our show is going to come to us Wednesday, August 27th. The Y will be made shortly here. I don't know why this document last modified here is showing up here. I want to get rid of there you go. Okay, good. So that will be that. We're going to preview the first weekend of college football. The NHL quarter century team came out. We'll dive into that a little bit because we'll have a little bit more time, and we'll focus back in on the pennant races. Man, do we have a lot of stuff coming up here. The potential contenders are coming up in like 20 minutes. They will be coming up. Then we got the Tuesday night flight. We have the passenger seat with the gentleman Jack. He's actually got 3 episodes. He's got one coming up tonight at 8. I think they got a special one coming up again tomorrow night at 7, and then his regular one on Wednesday. The Thursday night throwdown, the WrestleManiacs on Saturday, Sunday morning rise. This is a big week coming up here on the Sideline Junkies Radio Network. Scooter, you got any final thoughts on anything?
No, let's have a good week. It's should be a good one. Hopefully the weather gets a little better, but we got a hurricane out in the east, so
yes,
it's hurting the shorelines right now.
You're a weather person. Any thoughts on this hurricane for anyone that you can give us here?
But all I'm going to say is it went from category 1 to category 5 in less than 24 hours. If you don't think that that's not normal, there is something severely wrong with you. Okay? It's just that's all. Okay. But thankfully it's not going to hit us. It's going to probably bash the coast a little bit with some storm surge. There's already mandatory evacuations heading out. So anybody who is planning to go to the beach this weekend, I'm sorry. But you do
Hitting up
not want
north
that
of
storm
North
surge.
Carolina,
It
right?
is it is not the fun storm surge either. It's
Right. This is hitting more up by you, right? Isn't it, Scooter? Supposed to come up
Yeah,
and
it's
kind
not really
of
going to hit. It's going to go up.
curve.
It's going to curve
it's
back.
curving. So it's going right between the field goals of Bermuda and the East Coast, and it's gonna go.
But Sarah's right about with all the storm surge and everything like that. That is crushing it right now.
Sarah Anthony's agreeing with you on climate change. So there you go. We'll try to stay out of the pot.
I'm an aspired meteorologist, so
I know you are.
That's all I got.
I know. All right. Every week, I always end the show with a I'm gonna try to get through this, and you can't start crying either. So I always say at the end that you got to hug your loved ones and tell them that you love them. And we had a real close to heart reason for that hit. When I moved to North Carolina 2004, we were trying to figure out where do we go. And we decided, because we knew that we couldn't live in the DC area anymore. Anyone that lives in the DC area, you just having a young kid, it's hard to get around in that area. So we knew right away we couldn't stay there. So we found Raleigh. We really liked Raleigh. So we found this little town in Clayton, found an area that were building new homes. And it was at the end of cul-de-sac. It seemed very quiet, so this was the time with my ex-wife. We moved there. And we met these 5 amazing families, going from right to left here. And I'll try to put this is Ken and Sandra. This is, of course, me and now my wife, Jennifer. And then that's Vic and Delinda are over here. And their son, Vic, who's on the show. You see him before. And then you have Frank back here and Jen. And then Mike and Lauren Kent. And this was our crew. We did a lot of stuff together. We hung out, in the cul-de-sac. Halloween nights, we'd all pool together, hang out in one driveway, hand out candy, laugh at bad costumes, make fun of them, mock them, drink heavily. Many of a party in somebody's house that we would have. Just 4th of July's. I think we had some better 4th of July fireworks shows than some people had in their cities. Between Ken and Michael, they knew how to purchase fireworks, where to purchase them from, and they took it seriously. I mean, these guys would literally try to time off when they lit them off so that it would be just like real. I'd have the music playing in the background so you'd have the music going with it for my little contribution to it. But needless to say, we had an amazing time. We found out on Thursday night that Michael had a heart attack and passed away, leaving behind a just amazing family. His wife, Lauren, son, Reddick, his daughter, Danielle, and his granddaughter, Sadia. We're just all in shock of what happened. Trying to go to the game on Friday when we found out was really hard because we're trying to tell everybody. But he passed away. Good man. Loved baseball. His son played baseball. Probably some of his funnest times was watching that. And he loved music and he loved drinking. This was a big boy and he could drink. He could outdrink anybody at a party. I'd never seen anybody be able to drink like this man, and not really look it. But then when he did get drunk, he was a funny drunk. So he was always good that way too. But it took a lot to get to there for him. But he loved it. He loved especially hard rock. Now we give him some grief at times because of his fandoms with different teams that seem to jump from time to time. But that was more out of fun than anything with him. But just a great guy. And these are just some of the pictures. This is his wife Lauren with him with baseball. That's his beautiful granddaughter. This is them. I think it's at the Braves Stadium if I remember looking at it correctly. Then here's him at the beach, and then this is him at Reddick's graduation. So, Mike, we love you. Be heading back to North Carolina to celebrate with everybody, and we're gonna have one last good Lockberry blowout on Saturday night and do it right for him. So love you guys, and it sucks that we have to get back together for something like this. It's hard, but and I really thought I'd be able to keep it together for this, but not so much. So Vic's ads in here. Rest in peace, Mike. You will be missed greatly. And that is 100% correct. Anthony trying to put a little bit of fun in it. So I appreciate that, sir. As a kid, what was the craziest 4th of July you've ever experienced when it came to firework competition between your uncles? So you've seen some of these fireworks shows go on down there. So you can try to give a little bit of fun to this. What do you have any of the fun memories from the 4th of July stuff?
I can tell you that my dad still does have his, what is it called? Kick-ass 4th of July playlist.
I do. I do have that same playlist is right here ready to go.
He
And we
still
did
has
blow
that playlist. I do remember one time, well, there's probably several times that my dad has tried to do this, but he's always wearing a ball cap, and if he sees some sort of firework and he sees a good distance, he will chase it and try to catch.
Oh, it was the twirly legs.
Yes, you were trying to
hat,
catch
yes.
the twirlies with your hat.
Yes. Not my smartest moment, that's for sure.
No, not the smartest. I mean, you already have all your hair off, so I mean, you couldn't really burn anymore. But that is one moment. I'm trying to remember if there were anything other relating to Mike or not. But yes, the blowing up fireworks was very intense. It was always at our cul-de-sac too. The rest of the neighborhood didn't really compare to what happened on Lockberry Court.
No, we had some people down there at the corner of Lockberry and Southwind that would try to compete with us, but it actually made for, like, with what they had and what we threw off, it made for a damn decent show. So Scooter, sorry, I knew I threw this on you. I didn't give you a heads up this was coming. But,
You're fine.
I was trying to get
prayers to you guys and to Vic and all the families affected by that. That sucks, and sorry to hear that. But keep up the good faith you always have.
Yeah, it's a when we do a lot of rest in peace on this show, and it's when you have somebody that's in their 50s that pass away, and it's like, oh my gosh, yeah, like it hits you somewhat, but when it's somebody that you know really well, and it hits differently, and this one definitely is one of those for us, and it's a little bit hard because, and that's why I say this, at the end of every show, because in fairness, we did lose a little bit of touch. When you move 600 miles away, it's and life happens. Like, he's got growing kids, I've got growing kids that are on the show with me now. Like, life happens sometimes, and you do lose that touch than what we had. Now, Ken and Mike still stay really close because they're still neighbors. They're the two that are still in Lockberry Court. The Vicks have moved away. Frank and Jen have moved away. We've moved we moved the furthest away for we're 600 miles away compared to everybody else. But you stay in touch a little bit through Facebook and stuff, but probably not as much as we should have. So if any good can come out of something like this, that's my hope for that, is that we'll try to make sure that the next time that we have this is not for a funeral, and it's for just a celebration of all of us, because we're all good people, and doesn't matter what side of the fence you're on. It's just, at the end of the day, this is a cul-de-sac that proved that we all had different political beliefs, but we still found the time to get together and put all that aside just to love each other, and I think that's important, especially in today's day and age. So with that, I'm going to end the show before I start going off again and really lose it, because I will lose it as soon as I end the show. So again, as I say, make sure you tell them to your loved ones that you love them, give them a hug, because tomorrow is not guaranteed. And unfortunately, this is proof of that. So hopefully we will see you all tomorrow. We'll see you all later on the Sideline Junkies Network. And until then, everyone, take care, have a good night, and love you all.